Hello everyone. Tomorrow is Labor Day and it already came by super fast, so I know it's just nice to have an extended day for the weekend. So just looking ahead for some things that we're going to be covering today. It is getting stormy in the west. We're going to have a little bit of rain here in south central, but of course southeast is staying pretty warm with their sunny and warm conditions. So just looking at our stats so far from this month, we've been just 1 degree ahead of normal, but 3 degrees warmer than what we saw last year. So it is a little bit warmer this year than what we saw last year, which is kind of nice, but we're also drier than we were last year with, nearly 3 inches less of rain than what we had last year, but a little bit less than normal for just the average in general as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at for our August stats. We're right on track with our days with rain, but just much less rain for what we're seeing so far this month. Now with our time lapse of Anchorage, we already saw some of those clouds moving on through, lots of overcast skies, some of those low-lying clouds as well, but we've also seen some rain coming and going earlier this afternoon. It was just super light, some scattered showers. That's what we can expect to see tomorrow evening. So late tomorrow evening is when we can expect to see some more showers rolling on through, but we also have an increased chance of that moving in for overnight tonight. But tomorrow, it is going to get a little bit sunny just periodically, so keep an eye out, be ready for that. With our weather headlines, we have our photo from Corey Jackson, and it's Labor Day weekend. That's the top headline that we have right now, the biggest news. But we do have an atmospheric river that is back. So we saw that last week, which was bringing lots of rain and wind throughout pretty much most of Alaska, and that's back. That's going to bring those same conditions moving on through, but just a little bit less than what we saw last week. But we do have those flood and heat advisories returning. So we've got the heat advisories in southeast, and then we have that flood advisory up in the Brooks Range and then near Matsu as well. So just looking at our upper level forecast, this is what we're looking at. I'm sure if you tuned in last week, this might look familiar. It's pretty much the same exact pattern, pretty much just stationed right over central Alaska, moving on through from the Alaska Peninsula, moving up from the west into the interior, and of course affecting a bit of south central as well. And of course, we've got southeast that's just hanging out in the high pressure zone. That's bringing in those sunny skies and those warmer temperatures. So it's a great Labor Day if you're in southeast, but not so much for some of those other areas like the western side of Alaska. So just looking ahead, this is what you can expect going into tomorrow, especially in the morning. You're going to get some showers moving on through the Alaska Peninsula, pretty much through most of your day. Dillingham, you're going to get affected by this big time, and Bethel, you also will. And then, of course, you can see that moisture moving into the interior as we progress through tomorrow. Some of those showers are going to come through in south central, but most of that is really going to come through by Wednesday. So Wednesday's when we're expecting the most rain for south central. And of course, we do have our expected rainfall. So we're going to see nearly an inch in McGrath, a little over an inch, nearly an inch and a half in Talkeetna. Now this is really important. We know that there's some flooding going on in Petersville, and this is just going to add some more of that flooding. That's the area that's under the flood warning right now, and that flood warning is going to expire by Tuesday. But still, just know that you have more rain on the way. That's why we have a flood warning going on. And this is just going to add to those factors. So those low-lying areas, those areas near the Yentna River specifically, are those areas where you're going to see a lot more of that flooding continue to go through. So that's the area that we're expecting the most rain to move through, and that's why it's such a threat for those areas. You can see right there, we've got that flood warning pointing directly to the Talkeetna area. Now we do have the flood advisory near the Brooks Range. That's mostly for just water runoff, and of course we're going to continue to get some more rain on the way, so that's just going to add to the runoff. And then we've got a gale warning kind of out in the ocean right now, but that was along the western coast, and that heat advisory again in southeast. So pretty warm conditions down in southeast. That's what we're kind of expecting for tomorrow. Seeing those temperatures pretty much in the 70s throughout most of the areas, and those areas that aren't quite at 70, you're pretty close to 70. If you round up, you're going to get 70. So mostly sunny skies for that area, as well as temperatures close to 70 throughout most of those spots. And even Ketchikan, you saw that 79 degrees. So pretty warm, but the interior is also going to see some of those slightly warmer temperatures than what we've continued to see from last week. We had those temperatures peaking in the mid 50s. Now they're going to be peaking in the mid 60s. So a nice little change for tomorrow for your Labor Day, but we do have some showers expected to roll on through into the interior by the afternoon. Some of those winds are going to come back as well in Healy and Delta Junction specifically, so that's what you can keep an eye out for. But those winds are also going to continue into the north slope with temperatures a little bit warmer than what we had been seeing the last few days, especially last week. So going to continue seeing those windy conditions, those cloudy skies also remaining in the area. Now, western Alaska, this is mostly for you. We're seeing that atmospheric river. You saw it just stationed right over top of western Alaska. That's going to be bringing in all of that rain and all those wind gusts. So that's mostly for you. It's really important to know that it is going to be a bit stormy tomorrow, not getting as much rain as you had last week, but it's still going to continue to add into the rain totals that you had last week, and flood warnings might be issued, but we're going to continue to monitor that. But you do have some strong winds moving on through, and then those temperatures staying in the 50s for most of the areas. But the big story for western Alaska is more rain on the way, and also more wind gusts are on the way. Now, the Aleutians are going to feel a little bit of these effects. St. Paul is going to catch some of those heavier wind gusts. Dillingham and Cold Bay, though, you're going to catch more of the rainy portion of that atmospheric river. But other portions of the Aleutian Islands, you're mostly just going to be a bit cloudy at times for your Labor Day. But of course, over here in South Central, we have our temperatures in the mid to low 60s throughout most of the region for tomorrow. That's what we're expecting to see pretty much across the board just for South Central. So mostly cloudy skies with some showers rolling in. Now, the showers are mostly going to come in for those more western parts of South Central, and that's going to come in mostly in the evening hours. We are expecting some partly cloudy or partly sunny skies to start to move in by the afternoon, but it will be cloudy in the morning, and then it's going to wrap up in the evening with some showers moving on through. But those temperatures don't look too bad, especially in Golcana in the 70s. So it is going to be quite warm over there. Copper River Basin, we're expecting it to dry out just a little bit more as we progress through this week, but you will get some showers as we go into tomorrow for your Labor Day. So great timing for the showers to come, but that's okay, because Mat-Su, you're going to continue to see those showers, especially the Talkeetna area, that area highlighted in green. That's where we're seeing that flood warning, and that's where you really need to be careful, because that's when the waters start to rise, and that's when it gets really dangerous. I mean, we already heard today during the newscast, we have people kind of stuck out there, so just make sure you stay cautious and just be aware there is more rain on the way, nearly 1.5 inches for tomorrow. Those temperatures are staying pretty warm, though. Tomorrow's the last day of the fair, so in Palmer, you're going to see some of those showers rolling on through the afternoon. You might get a sprinkle in the morning as well, but we're expecting light rain. So this is nothing to cancel your plans over. Just make sure you bring a light jacket or something, just a little rain cover, just to be aware for what you're expecting for tomorrow, but not too windy, pretty calm winds, and then also those warmer temperatures are going to be a nice little highlight for the last day of the fair. Now, over here in Anchorage, we're seeing those temperatures pretty similar in the mid to low 60s, a bit warmer than what we've been seeing the last few days, and of course those overcast skies are going to start to roll through in the morning. By the earlier afternoon, that's when we're expecting to see some partly sunny skies moving on through, and then we're going to have more rain on the way by the time the evening comes. So that's what we're looking ahead to for tomorrow for your Labor Day, and of course our 7-day. There is a chance of showers in the evening, and I want to just keep repeating that so you keep it in the back of your mind in case you're making any plans. But temperatures are going to be warmer, and in Fairbanks they're also going to be warmer over there, but you are getting some chance of showers moving on through the afternoon with pretty similar conditions, having some cloudy skies at times, and then also sharing that with the rain that is going to come. So that's kind of just what you can expect for your Labor Day. It's going to be a fun day. I hope everybody has a fun day. Go out and do something fun. Be aware that there is more rain on the way, some more wind gusts on the way as well. So it's just really important to be aware of what the weather conditions are like for you. If you're planning any outdoor activities, I don't think hiking would be the best option for your Labor Day, but just be cautious if you do, especially in areas towards Mat-Su. That's when you want to be really careful because the rain comes in those higher elevation regions. So just be aware if there's a chance of rain just in towns like Palmer or Anchorage, there's definitely going to be a more likelihood of rain happening in those higher elevation regions. So if you plan to go hiking, keep that in the back of your mind. And of course, with that, I will leave you with your wonderful view for the day. Hope everyone has a great Labor Day weekend.